Right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Student Ambassador Find Out More session. Just to let you know that we will be recording this session, so it'll be a live recording session. Unfortunately, we obviously cannot be on campus with you to talk through. So if you do have any questions that you would like to ask as we go through, if you use the chat function actually on the computer, what we will do is we'll pick up some of the questions just at the end of the presentation. Just to let you know who we've got with us today, we've got quite a full crew. We've got myself, Gary Crawley. I'm the Student Recruitment and Outreach Manager, so I'll be talking through some of the slides. I've also got one of my colleagues, Angela Wood, who actually looks after the Student Ambassador Programme, and we've got Emily Higgins, who works for Uni Connect and the Future Me programme, and they work with some of our ambassadors for some of their work that they actually do. We've also got Hannah Munns, who's been with us for the last 3 years. She's one of our student ambassadors, and she's just going to talk a little bit about her experiences of being an ambassador, just to give you a little bit of a feel for what the work does involve. And what we've also got is that we've got Jade Whitaker, who is actually doing all the technical side. So thanks to Jade for that. Just before we ask Ange to go on to the next slide, what we thought this session would be really useful is that we've currently got 82, 85 ambassadors that are working with us, and we're looking to recruit a further 40 ambassadors. We've been working with student ambassadors for 25 years, going out, working out in schools and supporting the work that we actually do. But the idea behind this session is to explain a little bit about our work and what it is that we're looking for from an application, but from an application form, but also from the students if you do come on board as an ambassador. It's a fantastic project. You get really well looked after. Over to you, Ange. Do you want to say a little bit more about the work that we do? So we can go on to the next slide, please, Jade.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Okay, so the events and activities that you would be involved with if you were successful as a student ambassador are just on the screen in front of us. So it's quite a wide and varied role. No 2 days are the same when you work as a student ambassador. So you're getting lots of experiences doing lots of different activities and events on a daily basis. So starting off with open days. Open days are aimed at our post-16 audience, and we have 7 undergraduate open days a year, plus we have our postgraduate and part-time open days. So if any of you have ever been around on campus when we've having our open days, you'll have seen our sea of blue open days. We use our ambassadors for meeters and greeters. We use them on car parking duties. We have campus tour guides. We have accommodation tour guides. So lots of things going on open day, and we probably have about 30 ambassadors around on campus on an undergraduate open day. We are delivering our open days online at the moment, so a small number of our ambassadors will be helping us at our next open day in January, which is on a live chat. So they're going to chat to prospective students about student experience via our talk platform. So that's what goes on with open days. We've got a variety of on-campus events, including corporate events. So there's all of the recruitment events that we actually have, plus anything else the university does. So for corporate events, we might have things like the business awards. It may be graduation, which our ambassadors help out at. It may be the reindeer parade, which we would normally help Middlesbrough Council with. So there's lots of different things that will go on campus, which ambassadors will be invited to work at. We do also travel around the country and around the region, and we attend numerous UCAS exhibitions in a normal year. This year's been a little bit different. We've been doing some virtual UCAS exhibitions, but in a normal year, we would ask ambassadors to come with us to UCAS exhibitions. So these are either in arenas or in colleges, and it's an opportunity for prospective applicants to come and visit our stand and speak to us and ask for some advice and guidance, information about the courses. Now, We tend to try and match ambassadors from a certain area to take to UCAS exhibitions. So if we were going to the NEC, for example, we would look for an ambassador who's from Birmingham originally. And we give full briefings on all of the events and what the expectations are of you at UCAS exhibitions. We also have careers events. They could be local, they could be regional, or they could be national as well. The local ones, we do pre-16 and post-16. For our pre-16 careers events, which generally start at year 9 with options events, we have a careers outreach team. So this is generally aimed at more experienced ambassadors who have a little bit more knowledge about the university, but this could be you sometime in the future. So we ask our ambassadors to go out alone to careers events in pre-16 institutions. For post-16 institutions, ambassadors tend to go out with a member of staff. We've got off-campus events. We have a lot of off-campus events. Our off-campus events we would call outreach events. And these could be in primary schools, secondary schools, or either in sixth form colleges and FE colleges. And there's a variety of activities that we do. For primary and secondary, it's kind of aspirational, inspirational activities that we would deliver. And in colleges, it could be more subject specific. It could be the application process. It could be a personal statement session. There's a variety of things that we do. But for all of the things that we do ask ambassadors to do off campus and on campus, we would give full briefings. Year 12 residential summer school, which tends to be a favourite one for the ambassadors. The last time we had a summer school, I think we had around about 140, am I right thinking 140 young people who came and stopped in our halls of residence and took part in some subject specific sessions and also some leisure activities as well. And we have students who help facilitate the summer school, and they work day shifts, they work evening shifts, and they work night shifts for that. And that's a 5-day, 4-night summer school. Not quite sure what's going to be happening this year, but we may have some kind of summer school that isn't residential, but that's yet to be decided. Face-to-face mentoring. We have mentoring in secondary schools, face-to-face mentoring in secondary schools that we ask ambassadors to be involved with. Things like English and maths mentoring and some other subject mentoring. However, we do have Uni Connect here today with Emily, and she's going to talk a little bit more very soon about the mentoring that they offer. There will be an opportunity as well for a small number of school placements. That could be primary schools, it could be secondary schools, it could actually be a special educational needs school as well. So we've had placements like that in the past. It could be maybe an intense week, or it could be one day over a 5 or 6 week period of time. Schools and college visits, we go to them, they come to us. There's a variety of them, too many to mention. So lots of opportunities there. We do ask ambassadors who are confident to deliver presentations to do this on behalf of us. It could be a student experience presentation, it could be a subject specific presentation, it could be a revision skills presentation, but for all of the presentations we do give briefings. We let ambassadors see the presentations before to be familiar with them before they actually go out to deliver them to schools and colleges. At the moment, our presentations are all virtual. They aren't face-to-face, but they will be back face-to-face in the future. So we are doing quite a few presentations which are over Teams Live at the moment. Speak to a Student is something new that we started this year, and it's we have a number of students who are online on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday on our Talk platform, which is a live chat function. And they are there to answer questions regarding student experience. They may get some prospective students asking about their specific subject, and it's an opportunity for the student to give their kind of information about what it's like being a student, say of radiography or nursing, etc., to prospective students. We also support the wider university. Although we are student recruitment and marketing, and a lot of the work is done within student recruitment and marketing, we do support the wider university, and more so at the moment. So we would support corporate events, which you've already mentioned. We'll support the academic schools. We will support DID, Department of International Development, with their events. At the moment, if anybody's been on campus, you may have seen we are supporting the COVID recovery plan, and we have COVID marshals, we have temperature checkers. They're all out helping at the moment with safety and security. Also, we have student ambassadors who help with Welcome Week when everybody arrives to move in. We've had student ambassadors helping us with iPad deployment for Teesside Advance. So the list is actually endless for the opportunities that are available for student ambassadors to support the wider university community. And there are so many, many more opportunities that are available. You know, we're getting more and more all of the time. On top of this, you will be paid £10.72 an hour, which is a healthy hourly rate. Thank you. Next slide, please. These are just some pictures of our student ambassadors in action. The majority of these here are our University Open Day, so you can see there's meeters and greeters, there's people directing, and just generally being helpful on an open day. Next slide, please.
So hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm the project coordinator for the Uni Connect programme based at Teesside University, which Gary and Andrew both mentioned. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this opportunity and how you can get involved. So we do sit within the student recruitment team at the university, but it is a national programme funded by the Office for Students. We deliver a programme to schools called Future Me, and it's all about aiming to raise awareness about higher education and to support young people to make informed choices about their future. And we do actually work with 32 schools in the Teesside area. A large part of the Future Me programme that is offered to schools is the mentoring programme for students in year 9, 10 and 11. And this is where you guys would come into it. So if you are successfully appointed as a student ambassador, you can express your interest to become a Future Me mentor. And this would be alongside your role as a student ambassador. So it's not one or the other. You can do both of them at the same time. So once you've been appointed as an ambassador, like I said, you'd be invited to do an expression of interest form. You'll be happy to know there's no kind of additional interview or anything like that. However, there is limited spaces and numbers we can appoint from the student ambassadors. So we do rely on that expression of interest form and from your initial interview as a student ambassador. As a mentor as well, so once you've been appointed, you would receive additional training. So you already do training as an ambassador, which Andrew Gary will speak about later, but you would do additional training on top of that, and that would cover things like information about the programme and the background and the aim of the programme, looking at the content of the sessions and how to use the materials. So all of the content, materials and resources, they're all kind of ready-made for you. We would just train you how to use them, how to run the sessions. And there is also skills-based training day as well, which is delivered by an external provider that looks at things like how to engage students and looking at behaviour management, how to introduce yourself and things like that. So as a mentor, you would be assigned to one of the schools across the Teesside area, and you'd be given the opportunity to support young people in year 9, 10 or 11 through a 7-week structured mentoring programme. And all of the content focuses on raising awareness about higher education, raising their aspirations, and really importantly, raising their confidence. So by the end of it, they actually think that higher education could be an option for them. So as we all know, things are a little bit different this year. We do normally do this in person in the spring and the summer term. However, this year, the mentoring will just take place in the summer term once the new ambassadors have been appointed, and we'll be giving schools the option to do either in-person or online delivery, just depending on what the situation is going to be like closer to the time. If it can go ahead as in-person as normal this year, once you've been assigned to a school, you'll go to that school then for those 7 weeks, and you'll have a small group of 7 students to work with. And these will be the same 7 students each week as well. The teachers choose which students to take part in the opportunity, and the ones that do have the potential to go into higher education but they might just need that extra information, that extra confidence boost, and somebody to talk to about higher education. So it's a little bit different to the other ambassador opportunities in the sense that with those that you can do different things every week, you could do different hours, different days, different times. With this one, it's a bit more structured in the sense that you'd go to that school for those 7 weeks on the same day, the same times, and you know that you've got those hours coming in for those 7 weeks. But we do look at your timetable beforehand, and we would only assign you to a school based on when you are available. In those 7 weeks, the actual kind of structure of the mentoring sessions, you would work with them for 1 hour as a group setting with those 7 students, and then throughout the day, you do one-to-one follow-ups with them so that you can really develop that rapport with them, that relationship with them. So you've got that opportunity to work in a group setting and kind of support somebody on a one-to-one basis as well. If it does end up being online, it will look a bit different, the delivery, but we won't know about that kind of till more closer to the time. Also, as part of the Future Me programme, we do offer schools other activities at the moment, such as like live webinars about all different aspects of higher education. So as a mentor, you would have the opportunity to support these live webinars or other opportunities like video recordings and things like that. Once we do go back to normal, even if it's not kind of this academic year, it might be next academic year, you will also have the opportunity to support in-school events and campus events that we run as well. So lots of different opportunities on top of the mentoring. So we don't kind of ask you to have been a mentor before, you don't have to have that experience, but we are looking for people who are just kind of confident and passionate about supporting young people. We're really excited to see who we get on board this year as a mentor, and if you do have any questions, I'll kind of be hanging around until the end, where we'll be sat some time for the questions. But thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Back to me now. Okay, thanks. That's back to me now. That's a fantastic overview. Thanks very much, Emily and Ange, for that. It continually surprises me that we just do so much work with our student ambassadors. It just makes me wonder how we only have 125 students working for us. Anyway, so I think Ange and Emily have said a little bit about the work that the ambassadors have done, what we expect from you. What you can expect from us is we pay you for the work that you do. You do get paid. Currently the rate is £10.72 per hour. If you are successful, we'll talk a little bit about the recruitment process, but you do come on board as a member of staff of the university, so it falls in with how we get paid. So you have your timesheets which you've got to complete and hand in by the end of the month, and we process those, and you get paid on or around the 26th of each month as well. So it is regular pay. I know that there was an awful lot of work that we've been talking about, but just to remind you that you don't have to do all of the work that we're doing. So one of the beauties about the ambassador scheme is that we're very flexible. We know that you're here to get your degree or your qualification from the university, and so we will actually work around that. So Ange will perhaps send requests out for work if you've got lectures you don't attend, or if you've got kind of like deadlines that are looming, you don't put your name down for those hours. It's as simple as that. So we work very much around kind of your timetable. However, if you do commit, we do expect you to have done that, thought about your lectures, your kind of like deadlines. So it's important that you are professional when you're actually working with ourselves. We do give a meaningful work experience. I think you'll have kind of gained from the previous slides the amount of work that we do. It can add to your CV, it can add to your confidence. Emily mentioned that you don't have to have experience of working with young people. We're looking for people who are keen, enthusiastic, and want to kind of like work. We can train you on some of the things. If you've not done any presentations but would like to kind of like learn, we'll kind of get you shadowing some of our current students, going out and build up your confidence there. One of the things that I think is fantastic about our scheme is that Ange, Emily, the rest of the team are really, really supportive in the work that we kind of like do with our student ambassadors. I'm sure Hannah will mention this. What it is, it's to give you a meaningful work experience. You can do it going to delivering workshops. You can actually develop your own workshop presentations, working with year 6 pupils, so that's 10, 11-year-olds, to working with parents, teachers. It's a massive area of work that we actually do. So all of the work we will do, we will help develop your skills, that will provide you training, briefings as well. So it's a learning process sometimes for some of the events activities you'll do, but it does develop your skills, your communication skills, your presentation skills, kind of like just even if you're writing workshops, developing those type of skills around your own academic area as well. The team sits within student recruitment and marketing. We're a very hard-working and we're a very professional team as well. We have got an excellent reputation around colleges, like both local, regional and national, and what we're looking for, ambassadors are an extension of that. So we need ambassadors who will be hardworking and who are very professional as well. We work very hard to build up the links that we do, so it's important that we have very high quality student ambassadors that are working with us. Mentioned that we've got a supportive work environment team. If you've got any questions, any queries, when we're back on campus, we're a phone call away. We're based in the print work, so often students come in for a chat with Ange or the team if they've got any issues or they need to chat about any ideas that they actually have as well. So we're always there for our ambassadors. In these current situations, Ange contacts people via Facebook, but we're also there via email as well. We do provide training as part of the university. You will have to undergo some compulsory training, but we also do general training. We look to develop like presentation skills training as well. If there's anything that you feel that you would like, mention it to us, and if we can do some type of training, we will do that. We never just drop you in it. We always give briefings. Ange mentioned the year 12 residential summer school, which Jade actually looks after. We have briefing after briefing to make sure that the students that are working with us are fully aware about their responsibilities, their job roles, and policies and procedures that we actually have to work to as well. So you're always well briefed regarding the work that you're going into. Plenty of notice before working. We normally try to do that. There are the odd occasions where somebody might drop out, or we will get a very last minute request, in which case you might see 1 or 2 emails or Facebook messages flying around saying, we desperately need somebody for this, is anybody available? Again, you put your name down if you haven't got if it doesn't clash with any of your studies as well. As standard, student ambassadors are given hoodie and polo shirts as well. And I think one of the best things that I like about the ambassador scheme is the variety of work that we actually do. I know that they've already said about the work we do, but it's just so different and so challenging sometimes. It's fun. You're part of a community as well. It is a really great experience for you if you do want to come on board as an ambassador. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll hand on to Hannah. Hannah's one of our current student ambassadors, so she'll just say a little bit about her experiences.
Right, hello. So like Gary said, I'm Hannah and I've been an ambassador for 3 years now. So I joined in my first year when I came to Teesside. And because of that, I've had the opportunity to get involved in a lot of the things that have already been mentioned. So I've done a lot before COVID with giving presentations, working open days. I've done a lot of work with international students and helping people move onto campus and just get acclimated to the community. I've gone out into schools and gave activities and led workshops like that. And I've also done the same thing when schools come to Teesside. So I think it was mentioned before, but you can kind of build your own workshops if you want to. So for example, because I'm studying a food degree, I was able to kind of make a nutrition workshop for students that came onto campus and deliver it to schools and on campus if people came for that. So more recently, I've also done a lot of the COVID stuff. So I've done COVID marshalling and temperature checking, speak to a student, and then also sort of adapting the workshops that would go out into schools and making them virtual. So filming presentations and a lot of filming stuff like that. So I think, like it's been mentioned before, some of my favorite things about being a student ambassador is definitely just how flexible it is. So because you're not doing the same thing every day, there's no kind of set schedule a lot of times. But because of that, it's really good. So they send out work requests and you can sign up to it if you want to, but you don't have to. So if I have a lot of work at one point or if I have exams, then I just can choose to not work for that week or something like that. And then along with that, the variety. So because there's so much variety and you're doing different things kind of out in the community and on campus, you just meet so many different people. So one of my favorite things about the job is like the variety of people that you meet too. So you can be interacting with school children one day and also just different ambassadors and people on campus. The ambassadors are kind of from all over. So you can have international ambassadors, you have people from here, and everyone's doing different degrees. So anyone can apply to be an ambassador, which is really great because it kind of makes a really good community and overall feel when you're at work. And I like that because I've made a lot of friends that way too. So because you're working with people that are super supportive and super helpful all the time, I think this has really helped to kind of increase my confidence, especially with things like leading workshops and giving presentations. So when I first became an ambassador, I hated doing things like presentations and just like leading workshops and things like that. So I would never sign up to those things. But now, because you're never alone, so there's always either another member of staff or another ambassador that's working with you, it kind of helps you get accustomed to those roles. So you always have the help that you need and you're never just like thrown into it with no training or nothing at all. So yeah, so I started signing up for those things. And then after 3 years, like I really don't mind it now. So you get used to it and then it really helps develop your confidence and things like that. So yeah, that's been really good because I've been able to take that into my course too. So it helps develop your overall skills that you can transfer into jobs and into your course and your degree. So yeah, overall, it's been a really good experience and there's so much that you can do with it, which is really great. And you get to meet so many people. So yeah, that's been my experience. Okay, next slide.
Excuse me, briefly about becoming an ambassador. As you can see on the screen there, which I'm sure you've all looked at anyway, we've got the apply link there. But just going through the process, applications are now currently open and the closing date for applications is Sunday the 17th of January. You do apply online and you don't have to complete your application all in one go. You can actually revisit it and go back to it, so don't worry about that. So with the applications closing Sunday the 17th of January, you will expect to hear back from us whether you are successful for interview or not by Friday the 22nd. We will be shortlisting that week and we will be doing it quite quick, so we'll have quite a quick turnaround. If you are successful and invited to interview, the interviews will be week beginning the 8th of February. Now, there will be an interview. The interview will be on Teams, given the current situation, and there will also be some form of group task. Not quite sure what that is yet and how we're going to manage that, but it will be, again, an online group task. So depending on the number of applications, it would be any time that week. We will be flexible with interviews as well. We will fit around your lectures and any on-campus lectures, tutorials, workshops, anything that you have. So you will be offered a time that week to come in for interview. If you are successful at interview, you will be notified. If we're interviewing right through to the Friday, you will be notified at the beginning of the following week. If you are successful, we need you to complete a DBS, disclosing barring service. So it's a police check. So all ambassadors have to complete one of these. We are having to do it a little bit differently this cycle. Normally we would use the paper form and you would come in and you would have your ID checked with us. Because we're not currently on campus and we won't be on campus in February either, this year the DBS checks will be done at the post office. For you to do this, you will need to go down to the post office within 7 days of your offer of employment and do this DBS check, have it checked there. There is a fee for your DBS check at around £60. However, this can be reimbursed once we have got your contract out to you and you've signed the contract and you become a student ambassador. We're currently working with our finance department, who are looking at putting students onto Serenity Expenses. So Serenity Expenses is the expense system that all staff at the university use, and it will be used for students in the future. So that's how you will reclaim your money back. For international students, or should I say for non-UK students, so international EU students, we require a certificate of good conduct from your country, from your home country. And depending on the country, it will be different as to what is required. For some countries, you may have to go to a police station, there may be fingerprinting involved. For other people, you may have to go to an embassy, but we can help any EU international students who don't know what to do about the certificate of good conduct. We can help you and point you in the right direction with that. There could well be a small fee for your certificate of good conduct. Not always, but sometimes for fingerprinting you do have to pay. If this is the case as well, again, we will reimburse you for that through Serenity Expenses. So after all of that is done, we will look at doing our introductory training, which will be in February. We will cover the we will cover the Student Ambassador Programme again, expectations. We'll touch briefly on child protection, which is an important thing for us, and you'll just get a feel for that. So you have to come to the training to be able to start work as a Student Ambassador. We will also hand to you as well, well we won't, we'll actually send to you our manual for Student Ambassadors, our Student Ambassador Handbook, which has everything that you need to know about the Student Ambassador Programme. There will also be some mandatory training that you would need to undertake, which all employees of the university need to do. This isn't straight away, but it will be some time after you've been appointed as an ambassador. So things such as data protection, equality and diversity, and information security and governance. But we will let you know when you are required to do all of that. So that's how we are, what we're looking at as far as the process and how long everything will take. So hopefully by March, you'll be up and running and ready to work as a student ambassador. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please.
Hi, back to me. I said at the start of my presentation that we're looking to recruit around 40 student ambassadors for this cycle. Last year, when we had application forms, we had around 360 odd application forms. So it is a very competitive job to get into. So it's really important that people put in strong applications, and this is part of why we brought out the Find Out More sessions. One, to explain a little bit more about the work that we look from our ambassadors that we offer, but also so that we can actually explain about our shortlisting and how we actually look at application forms. So will we be able to get the person specification up there, please? So basically, Angela's mentioned that once you actually get your application form in January, 17th of January, that week, that what we will be doing, there'll be a small team of us who'll be looking at your application forms. And basically what we do is we look at kind of like the person specification. You should read the job description as what that involves, but we do look for you to answer what we're looking for from the person specification. So first one's dead easy: qualification, education, your degree or your master's, or the qualification that you're doing at Teesside. But then what we'll be looking for, say, ability to enthuse others. Lots of people have put in the past in their application form, oh yeah, I'm good at enthusing others, full stop. What they need to do, what you need to do is in your application is to kind of like give us examples. So it's not only just telling us that you can enthuse people, it's also that you can kind of like give us evidence of what you've done, how you've done it, and how you can actually enthuse that kind of like person or group of people as well. So when you are completing your application form, it is really important to make sure that you have a look at the job specification, and make sure that you kind of like go through each section and kind of like answer what we're actually asking and evidencing that. IT skills is probably a really good one. Lots of people says, I've got really good IT skills, and I'm sure that you have, but you've got to then tell us, you know, how you've used those. Do you use those for your coursework? Are you on like the social media and everything like that? So just tell us a little bit about yourself as well. We're not accepting any CVs this year. Reason behind that is because lots of people just put a CV in last year, and you know, looking at the CV, there looked like, you know, some very strong people out, and I'm sure that there have been fantastic ambassadors, but it didn't relate to kind of like the person specification. So the CVs were just very, very general and didn't give us the information that we were needing. So this year we've decided that, you know, it is from an application form kind of like only. Again, what happened when a lot of people were doing their application form under the additional information, they used to write 2 or 3 lines. You know, we can get a little bit about previous kind of experiences, but you know, that is a crucial kind of like area for you to actually sell yourself, promote yourself as well. It is very competitive. We do want the best of the best, you know, to go forward to interview as well. We shortlist fairly, as very, very fairly. So please make sure that you do put in a very, very strong application so that we can actually put you forward to the interview process as well. So like I say, I can't reiterate enough, take time off your application form, make sure that you get it into us on time. Anything outside the deadline time, we will not look at. Okay, we will either kind of like put it into the next cycle when we're looking. So make sure you give yourself lots of time to complete the application form. Okay, on to the next slide, please.
Thank you to Gary, Emily and Hannah there. Just to summarise, Student Ambassador Programme is a great programme. It's great for developing your skills, adding experience to your CV, making new friends from all walks of life. It's just a great all-round experience. So to become a Student Ambassador, we've made a mistake on here. You don't have to download the application form. Oh, we've changed that since the other day. The application form is available on the website. And as I mentioned, you don't have to complete your application form in one go. You can just come back to it if you feel you need to add. If you have any other questions at any point after this presentation's finished and you haven't asked them here today, you can email studentambassadors@tees.ac.uk and we'd be more than happy to help. So that actually concludes our presentation. If anybody has any questions, we do have the chat function on here, and we are going to be here for a while. So please feel free to ask us any questions, whether it be for Gary, Hannah, Emily or myself. Please feel free to ask what you need to ask, and we're more than happy to help. So thank you very much.
Don't have any questions at the moment, so if anybody just wants to use the Q&A function to send some questions across and we can ask the team, that would be great.
We must have covered it that well that nobody has anything to ask.
Maybe just give it a couple of minutes, because I know there's a slight delay between what goes out and what people hear and see. So if you do want to use the Q&A function, please feel free to send any questions across. Oh, we've got one. Someone said hi. Hello.
Hello.
I don't know if we've got any of our health students that are kind of like watching, but there was a question the other day regarding like placements that we realised that some of the health students might be on placement, or they're quite out in hospitals quite a lot. That if you are, we work around your placement times and flexibility like that. So if there are any health students out there and you are considering it, please do apply. We do welcome applications, we can work around placements, yeah, it's just with any students. Okay.
Is it worth mentioning as well about the DBS if you are a health student, and Gary?
Yeah, we can, yes. So generally DBSs aren't transferable. However, if you are a student from the School of Health and Life Sciences and require a DBS for your course, then that actually is transferable to the student ambassador programme, so there will be no need for you to apply for an additional DBS. We can just use DBS from the School of Health and Life Sciences if you are a health student.
Yeah, I think that's if it's a recent health check. I think so. If you've just started, if it's a couple of years old, obviously it depends upon HR, but they do normally look for recent health checks and everything like that, DBS checks as well. Just to say as well, I know Angela mentioned about like non-UK students that you'll have to produce a code of conduct, but you'll also have to do kind of like one of the UK DBS checks as well. You know, unfortunately, we do have to pay up front for those DBS, but we will try and get the money back to our ambassadors as soon as possible once we've got everything sorted.
Somebody's asked, this might be good for Hannah to answer actually. Can you go over typical tasks and duties? Hannah, what would be like a typical week for you working as a student ambassador?
Oh God. Well, right now, I guess with COVID, it's been really different. So I'm doing a lot of the COVID marshalling stuff. So there's kind of a few main activities right now. That's the COVID marshalling, like Angie Gary said, where you're kind of manning each building. So you might just be like the first point of contact to make sure people are following the rules, wearing masks, using sanitizer, things like that. And then temperature checking, where you're just like, you know, taking people's temperatures if they want to, just as another like safety precaution, and then speak to a student. So for me, I'll usually do like 1 day of COVID marshalling, 1 day of temperature checking, and then 1 day where I do speak to a student for a few hours. So it really can vary, because I know some ambassadors that will do 4 or 5 days of COVID marshalling and then have just 1 day of temperature checks. So it really is what you want to sign up for. But right now it's been really good because there are permanent shifts with the COVID marshalling. So you have a little bit more of a routine schedule in that way. But yeah, so that's a typical week for me. Usually I'll do like 1 day of each and just have that set schedule. So yeah.
And somebody's asked, is it mainly open days? I think you probably answered that in that not just open days, but do you want to add anything?
Yeah. Well, before, when there were open days, yeah, so there's limited open days, but yeah, so you could do open days, but because there's not open days every week, you have other things like activities. There's a lot of schools that would usually be coming onto campus where you're giving workshops and just doing different days like that for school students. So it is a lot of that type of thing, but it really is all of the opportunities that have already been mentioned. So there's not really one kind of main thing. I guess if it was like a main task or duty that you could say that it's more just like communicating with people and helping out around campus and talking to people in general. So yeah.
Can I just add to that, please? For almost every day that we're at work, Monday to Friday, there are jobs available for student ambassadors. It's not very often that a job goes by that we don't actually have a work opportunity for ambassadors. In a normal year, March and November and June are quite busy for us, and if we did have summer school, then July would be quite a busy month as well. So there's so many different opportunities, and as Gary mentioned, it is a flexible role, so all of the jobs that you have would need to fit around your timetable, and it's up to you when you work and how you work and what you do, and you can actually choose any of the opportunities that are available. So if you're not comfortable with them, then you don't have to choose them. If you're not comfortable with them, but you think, well, I'm not really comfortable doing that on my own, but I wouldn't mind finding out how it would go. We do lots of shadowing with experienced ambassadors, so you can get used to different jobs and opportunities that are available. So there's quite a scope. No 2 days are the same. So you could be working in a school with year 6 children doing some literacy and some improving the reading skills, and the next day you could be working with a group of 17-year-olds who come into the university to do some subject specific activities. So it's all very different.
Yeah, Jade, I was going to say as well that I mean, I think this year we were a little bit worried with the COVID because obviously schools we can't send student ambassadors out to schools, but because we've got such a good reputation across like the university, that the campus services have actually invited us to put some ambassadors forward to help with the COVID marshalling. So it's actually worked out really well. So there's an awful lot of work either through COVID marshalling, through the temperature checking on campus. We're doing some work with the School of Computing as well. So there is lots of work. It's just because of how professional our ambassadors are, you know, word spreads really. So there is lots of work, but Angie's quite right. In a normal like year, we'd probably be doing between 40 to 50 events out in schools on a monthly basis. If anybody wants a little bit more of a structured program, you know, where you know what you'll be doing week in, week out, you know, Emily through the Future Me, the Uni Connect program, that's a good opportunity as well. That is a little bit more structured in some of the work that they do. Ours may be kind of like one-off work at all, or working for 1 day or 2 days or anything.
That's great. That looks like all of our questions. Somebody's just said it sounds excellent, which is some good feedback.
It is.
It
is excellent, and you get so well looked after. It's such a good, you know, I know we work with it, but it is such a fantastic project. I would really recommend it. Ange looks after you, Emily looks after you, the whole team are behind you, and you actually get paid for it as well. And if you work on things like the residential, we also feed you as well for it as well. So it's a fantastic project to work in.
Brilliant. That looks like that's all of our questions then, Gary.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for coming along today. Hope you have found it useful, and we look forward to welcoming some of your application forms as well. Make sure you get them into us by the deadline. Okay, best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.